Hi, George. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Al?
Hey, I wanted to ask you to a related question. In your view, where is he in his ability to go through his progressions? And if the first option isn't the right option, where is he in his ability to look off that player and go to option two, option three, even if he's under duress?
Yeah, I think that's the position, and it's a very complicated equation, and he's growing each day. It's a lot of different defenses we see, and a lot of different personnel groupings, and ways to really strategically align that. And so when you combine our play with the amount of defenses that are possible, there's a lot of variables, and so we try to give them as many looks as possible. But ultimately, when we get to game day, there's probably a new look that we're going to have to discern and make quick decisions. So we harp on that with him, and he knows that, and it's a matter of being decisive. So we're trying to give him as many looks of that in practice and move forward from there.
David?
Hi, Coach. I wanted to ask you about scoring on opening drives of halves. What made you guys so successful coming out first half and second half with a touchdown scoring drive, and then what changes when it goes from that first drive to are there adjustments in play that change things going forward?
Yeah, the first drive, our players really executed. We had a third down where we were on the ball and executed that to continue the drive. We had a big play on a run. And then, when we got the ball in the red area, we punched it in. So it was well executed by the players. And obviously Tua leads that group. So he did a good job of getting us in the right plays there. And then, New England made a couple adjustments that, kept us from moving the ball on another drive. But I think there's a lot of factors in that. And, both sides we're playing this game behind the game. And they did a good job of adjusting, and then it took us a little bit to get adjusting from there. We scored right before half, and then, in the second half, we made some adjustments there that we were able to score, on the first drive there. So it was a little bit of back and forth, and that's how we feel like every NFL game is. There's good coaches, there's good players, and it's difficult out there at times.
Travis?
Hey, good morning, Coach. I had a question for you regarding just vertical passes in general, and particularly the 36-yard pass from Tua to Waddle. It was he came back on a back shoulder type of throw, and it looked like he maybe had a step on top of the defender. I was just kind of curious what the rules or the teaching points are on that particular type of look where you get the step and they try to make an adjustment for back shoulder or to go vertical over the top. Like, how do he and Jalen kind of communicate what to do on that particular look?
And that really comes from practice quite a bit. In that look, McCourty was a little bit tilted over to where Gesicki was on the single receiver side. So that put the three receivers in a one-on-one situation where, the ball, the longer it travels, the more accurate we got to be, because that ball hangs up in the air for everybody to see what angle it's coming down. Jalen did a good job of adjusting to it. It was a big play. It was a play that got us, eventually for some points. So it changed the field position, and that's a tough throw. It was an inside fade, is really what we call it. So it was good to see that ball get connected.
Daniel?
Coach, I wanted to ask kind of a two-part question. Just overall, what were your impressions of the performance of the offensive line? And I know you guys, you had a mixed bag with running the ball, but I know on that first possession you were able to get Miles open on a third down run, running out of the pistol, as opposed to kind of running out of the shotgun. How do you think that benefits your offense, and particularly the offensive line?
Yeah, well, just overall with the offensive line, we were able to run the ball. At times it's hard, when you just look at an average and you take, 3 knees at the end of the game, that average can kind of get a little skewed. But, those guys know that there's some opportunities there for some bigger plays. And in the pass protection, that's a good pass rush front. We'll see, that group will cause some problems during the year for sure. And, for our situation at line, being able to handle some changes there during the week and, be effective and give us enough time to distribute the ball. We think that group needs to continue to improve, but it was a good first outing. As far as the pistol is concerned, it's another just alignment that we look at. Some teams look at it as a back in the backfield. Other teams still look at it as a gun. So for us, it's just another formation. Our guys have done a good job of ball handling to make sure that, we can execute that when we need to call that. So, on that particular play, it was, well blocked for us to get the 15-yard run.
Omar?
Following up on offensive line questions, George, I want to ask you one about Jesse Davis and just how important his maturity and leadership is for this young line. And the second part of that question is, are you a buyer into the theory that the right tackle is the most important lineman for a left-handed quarterback?
Yeah, well, first off, you hit it on the head with Jesse as far as just leadership and maturity and keeping that group, flatlined is what we say, not too high, not too low. They pretty much carry the offense because they have to be able to get body on body in the run game and then protect for the quarterback. And Jesse has a lot of experience in the division. He's got a good wealth of knowledge to provide to a lot of those younger guys, but also, at other positions because he's communicating with the tight end too. So he's a big piece of our unit. And, we're happy to have him. We're thankful we got him. And then just we think that really both of those tackles are very important, both left and right. There's so many things that kind of go on with this game with play action and RPOs, point of attack runs, backside runs, that Jesse's a big piece. Austin's a big piece. Liam's a big piece. And from outside in, a lot of times that's where the pocket gets crushed. And, if we can be firm on the outside, obviously we got to be firm on the inside for a quarterback, but, that can provide us a little bit more windows to see left and right, on the edge or on the perimeter.
Cam?
George, what's up, man?
Hey, Cam.
We saw it a little bit, I guess, with Jalen and this past week, but obviously you guys get Will back this week. What impact do you anticipate maybe his speed and the combo of his and Jalen's speed having for the offense?
Yeah, well, Will's been, a high performer in his career. So, we're excited to get him back. And I think it'll be for Will, I know he's excited. He's been kind of itching at the bit. He had a little bit of a setback with an injury, but now he's back out there, with the suspension too. So it'll be good to see him, out there in practice and fitting him in. We got that group where we've got a lot of weapons. So moving them around, getting them open versus certain matchups, and really the catch and run element, especially with Will, is a factor with his speed. So they got to do their job in the run game, but when they're called on the passing game to get open, they're an important piece for creating those big plays and putting points on the board.
Barry?
Hi, George. You had some success early, obviously, with up tempo, especially in that first drive. Did you get to it as much as you ideally wanted to? And how much does time of possession factor into how much you go up tempo? When it was as lopsided as it was in the second half, are you reluctant to put up tempo in a close game with that sort of gap in time of possession against you?
Yeah, you pretty much hit on all the questions that kind of go through our head as we're going through that. There's some situations where we will go up tempo, whether it's a positive or a negative play. The 3 and outs are some of the things that we talk to the group about eliminating those. So if we can eliminate those three and outs and there's some self-inflicting plays, and then there's also some things that we got to do from a coaching staff to get them in a better position. But we really want to keep moving those chains, and when we can get into third and manageable, convert those. And the more opportunities we have on normal downs, the more opportunities we have to either use or not use the tempo.
Marcel?
Hey, good morning, George. Looking ahead a little bit to Buffalo, I don't know how deep you've gotten into their film or into Sunday's game, but was there anything that you saw from this defense that strikes you as different from what you've seen from them in years past?
I mean, to me, it's a fast defense. They make a lot of plays. They tackle you when they need to make the one-on-one tackle. Every throw seems to be contested. They do a good job with their scheme of changing in and out of certain coverages, so they're not predictable. I mean, they obviously they had a hell of a year last year, and they helped Pittsburgh to limited yards in the first half. This is the same defense that's been as productive as it's been in the past years. So we got a big challenge. We got a big challenge up front. Linebackers obviously have played a lot of football. They play every down. And then their DBs have a wealth of experience, and a lot of people know every one of those DBs, regardless of what team they cheer for. So there's a reason why they're a good defense. They play hard for 60 minutes, and we got our work cut out for us. So from our perspective, I wouldn't say we're just getting ready to know them because they're in our conference, so we do kind of have a little bit of familiarity. But early in the week, obviously, is a very important part to setting the game plan for Sunday.
We have time for two more. We'll go to David and then Cam.
Yes, George. How you utilize the three running backs? Did you like the carry/touch distribution? And would you have wanted to get Gaskin more carries after he had 5 on the opening drive, only 4 the rest of the way, and was averaging over 5 per attempt?
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to a little bit with what Barry asked about, holding on to the ball a little bit more and having more of a time of possession where we get those opportunities. We feel like that group, we got a lot of depth at the running back position, the tight end position, and at the receiver position. And, there's only one ball out there. We know that. So there's a point where we want to make sure that those guys all get their opportunities. And at the end of the game, it was some good running by Malcolm. Early in the game, like you said about Miles, we had some critical runs there and plays from Savon. So, that group knows that it's, if you will, by committee. Same thing with the tight ends and receivers. So there is no ego in that room, which as a coach, and we love that about those guys. We love coaching them. So they know that when their number's called on, that their jobs are to perform, and that group continues to do that regardless of which one of those guys are getting the ball.
Last question, Cam.
George, I think it's the first time we got to see the fullness of you guys' new offense. What stood out to you about the operation process and final result of what we saw?
Well, from an operations standpoint, it was pretty clean from our perspective. We're playing on the road. That environment's not an easy environment. And we saw a lot of teams here in this first week where maybe it wasn't as clean with, let's just say, line of scrimmage penalties, delay of games, in and out of the huddle, having to call timeouts. That part of it, Tua did an excellent job of getting us, from coach, let's say, to quarterback, to huddle, to line of scrimmage. And then we know we left some plays out there. It's the first week. Thankfully, we've got some room to improve, and that's the way we want to look at it. We want to improve each week. We got to eliminate the turnover, be 100% ball security, and we know we can do some better things in the run game and in the pass game. So fortunately, we get another opportunity here coming up, and again, it's against a very formidable opponent. So we need to be, correcting the mistakes now and making sure by Sunday that those fires, if you will, are put out.